few weeks ago, I was listening to Van Lathan on the Midnight Boys show while working on a few pages for my comic AWOL. During this episode, the crew were talking about the reactions and reviews to the newest James Gunn Superman film, which was a fantastic film in my opinion. During Van's turn to talk about the film, he discussed his affinity for Superman that grew because Superman was the first superhero his late father introduced him to. So Superman holds a very special place for Lathan because of that. As Van was going on about the film, I started to think about who was the first superhero my father introduced me to. The first thing that came to mind was Luke Skywalker and then Darth Vader. I remember my dad having a VHS set of the first Star Wars trilogy at his apartment. I remember watching it repeatedly and just like many kids, falling in love with the idea of the Force, hyped to see all the lightsaber battles, and thinking how cool it would be to become a Jedi, admiring Darth Vader's fantastic costume design, breathing pattern, and overall strength. I got my first opportunity to see a Star Wars film in theaters while in 5th grade when Revenge of the Sith came out. I was prepping for the film by playing Lego Star Wars on my GameCube. Episode 3 had me enthralled with the origin story of Vader. I loved seeing him transform on screen. It wasn't until my junior year in high school when I got to see my next Star Wars film at the movies. That next film I got to see was Star Wars The Force Awakens. I was so hyped when I first saw it. I remember a few years prior talking about Star Wars with my pre-AP English teacher, Mr. Penny, who at the time had some reservations about Disney acquiring Lucasfilms, something that is all too familiar now. Regardless, I enjoyed most of the films that came out after the Disney buyout. Not only was I excited about the new films, but was also hyped to see all the new shows and spin-off movies to come. These movies and shows came and went. I loved some I didn't care for. Either way, I was just a grateful Star Wars fan. Very much like I'm a grateful comic book fan. Just happy to see things I loved as a kid on screen more often and at a higher quality. As time went on, my love for Star Wars started to dwindle. Not because of bad films or shows, not because of plot holes, bad acting, or bad scripts. It was because of one thing, the fandoms. Because of things like this.
Trailer was woke BS.
Misogynoir and overt racism was fuming in the Star Wars community. Sadly, this hatred towards Black women was not just coming from Star Wars fans. It was spewing from all facets of nerd culture. The hate and marginalization that Black women often experience in geek and nerd spaces that are supposed to be about shared passions, creativity, and belonging, is exhausting, dehumanizing, and all too real. Black women face racism, misogyny, and gatekeeping in nerd spaces, whether it's gaming, cosplay, comics, anime, or tech. It's a triple hit. Being Black, being a woman, and being into non-mainstream or traditionally white-dominated interests. It is funny how in spaces where these people used to get bullied for publicly liking these nerdy things have now turned into the bullies themselves. Just like Black men, Black women have often shared space in comics. During the golden silver age of comics, Black women were largely invisible. Or when they appeared, they were heavily stereotyped. Many of them seen as the Mammy or Jezebel tropes. When Black women were depicted, they were often through racist caricatures. Many times in genres like fantasy or sci-fi, in a world made up, Black people in general were not included at all. Aliens were often seen as the substitute for people of color. Even with all this strife put upon Black women, not only in the comic book industry, but in the real world, events going on like systematic racism, segregation, and Jim Crow, women like Jackie Ormes still strived. Jackie Ormes was born Zelda Marvin Jackson on August 1st, 1911 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to parents William Winfield Jackson and Mary Brown Jackson. Her father, William, was the owner of a printing company and a movie theater proprietor. Was killed in an automobile accident in 1917. This resulted in the then 6-year-old Jackie and her younger sister Dolores to be put in the care of her aunt and uncle for a brief period of time. Eventually, Jackie's mother remarried and the family relocated in the nearby suburb of Monongahela. Ormes drew and wrote throughout high school. Ormes ended up landing her first writing gig at the Pittsburgh Courier after writing letters to the then editor-in-chief, Robert Vann. Ormes' first writing assignment was covering a boxing match. As time went on, Jackie's role in the Pittsburgh Courier grew, leading her into helping with proofreading and editing articles. Ormes also did freelance writing on police beats, court cases, and human interest topics. After all of this, something was still missing from Ormes to make her feel complete creatively. She wanted not only to write, but draw as well. This urging to draw is where Orm's first and prominent character Torchy Brown was invented. The Torchy Brown story covered many different aspects in the comic strip. One of the early strip shows Torchy traveling from Mississippi to Chicago, echoing the Great Migration black folks did in the early 1910s, where black people moved from the upfront, overt racist Confederate South to the more passive racism of the North, looking for better job opportunities and lifestyles. In my opinion, one of the most important aspects of Orm's Torchy Brown character is her presentation. The fact that she is beautiful and a confident woman, a type of black woman trope that was non-existent at the time. Furthermore, as time went on and the popularity grew of Orms and her comic strip characters, she contracted with the Terry Lee Doll Company in 1947 to produce a play doll based on her little girl cartoon character. The Patty Jo doll was on the shelves in time for Christmas and was the first American black doll to have an extensive upscale wardrobe. Though it took decades for Orms to finally get the recognition she well deserved, she was inducted into the National Association of Black Journalists Hall of Fame and the Will Eisner Comic Industry Hall of Fame. Orms was an inspiration for those who know about her. Let's take a break and talk about today's sponsor, Flaming Stickers. If you need custom stickers for your brand, art, or business, they've got you covered. They've got a limited time deal to get 153-inch die-cut stickers of your own design for just $50 with free shipping anywhere in the United States. And it gets even better. These stickers are glossy coated, weatherproof, and will be shipped out within 24 hours. You'll get a 2 to 3 day delivery with tracking. Use promo code ROJOCOVA to get $10 off your first order. That's $40 for 150 stickers. Go hit flamingstickers.com and put your orders in today, or scan the QR code on the screen before this deal is gone.
Now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Being a black woman in these nerdy spaces is an uphill battle. Here in America, Eurocentric features are seen as the standard of beauty. Straight hair, bright colored skin, colored eyes, and so forth. Many of these features were prominently represented in media, leaving little representation for black women in many pop culture spaces. And if they were women of color in these pop culture spaces, many of them were usually racially ambiguous or shared similar features that favored the Eurocentric ideal. When it comes to the idea of beauty, black women are rarely thought about. A good example of this is how makeup line companies never have the right tones for darker skinned women.
Which side of my face is the black face paint or the Youthforia foundation? You can't tell. You know why? Tar in a bottle. This is jet black face paint, and this is the darkest shade of the Youthforia Date Night foundation. This is black face paint. This is the darkest shade of the Youthforia foundation. Let's just go ahead and try to blend this out, you guys. Enough. Who is that color?
Funny enough, white or non-black women often get praised for having features that are traditionally seen as negatives on black women. Tan skin, full lips, big booties, etc., etc. People love Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back song, but didn't really get the full message of the song. Yes, it was a funny song about big butts, haha, but in reality, it doubled as a very early 90s shallow way of Sir Mix-a-Lot giving praise to black women for having their natural look. When peering at many of the early looks of black women in comics, fans often think of Storm. Yes, she may have dark skin, but her other features did not favor the typical black woman. If we're being fair, many of these early designs of women characters were and still are built for the white male gaze. When looking at the stories of many black women characters in comics, they were not well thought out. Very surface level. They didn't show the real happiness of black women with these characters, though many black fans were still happy just to see their faces on these pages.
I think for me, when I was younger, I was so used to not seeing black women that any woman I connected to. So like Chung-Li, there was a Street Fighter movie. I used to be like, yeah, Chung-Li's my girl. And just like these, and for me, that was a win for me, like seeing Chung-Li, because I was like, yo, she don't got red hair or blonde hair. She's a woman of color. I could connect with that. And, you know, a lot of people say Storm, but for me, I never connected with Storm when I was younger. I do now that I can understand her character. But when I was younger, people forget that, like, it was men writing Storm. So she was, like, pompous, angry, and she didn't look like me. There's no diversity in the black characters that they show, right? Yeah. So to me, I felt like Storm looked like me as much as Chung-Li looked like me, right? No one had this curly hair that I have. No one was within my skin tone range. So it was like forever. I was like white, black, the black hair. I didn't connect. with anyone.
As time went on, many of these characters evolved. Like many black characters, once different types of writers were at the helm, these characters grew in more realistic and deeper ways. One of my favorite black women characters is Rachel Irving, aka Rocket, from the Milestone series Icon. I love her of not only opening up the eyes of Icon to the realities of modern society and its issues, especially for those who are poor and disenfranchised, but also the series puts Rachel herself in real life situations. A real issue for many black girls at the time, teen pregnancy, which was a concept very rarely seen in comics at the time. Shout out to Dwayne McDuffie for that series and all of the Milestone media as a whole. RIP. Now let's broaden the scope outside of comics, because black women as a whole have been left out of nerdy spaces. When they are let in or interested in these nerdy spaces, they are met with such hostility, even more than black men. The most popular showing of this is the review bombing of shows or movies before they even come out. This has happened a lot over the past few years. The Little Mermaid trailer drops and the video gets millions of dislikes. The trailer for Ironheart drops, the series gets review bombed out the gate. The same happened with Star Wars Acolyte. The only common thread is that the main actresses in all of these projects I mentioned were black, two of which were original black characters. Many of the viewers who watch my videos claim that's what they want, original characters. They try to hide their bigotry behind thinly veiled statements like, we don't want race swapping, we just want good writing and good characters is all. So does everyone else. The problem here is these characters don't even get a chance to get their fucking story out, because no one, especially these white, male dominant, some black as well, fans don't want to see black faces in these spaces. How can a show get an even playing field when for some reason adding a black or a female character is seen as a political statement? Why is my existence or any black person's existence in spaces that isn't normally afforded to people who look like me a political statement? Many of these actors are hit with all kinds of racist, misogynist bullshit as if they don't belong. What if some of these roles were dream jobs for them, to get something new and refreshing, just to get all their hard work shit on for nothing on the drop of a 30-second trailer? Do these fans know the writing, themes, and character arcs after 30 seconds? Or are they showing their racist asses and showing their hatred for these black women? Moses Ingram, who played the villainous Inquisitor Reva in the 2022 Star Wars Obi-Wan show, got hundreds of racist messages from Star Wars fans just because she was in this show and was a black woman. The hate got so bad, even the heads of Star Wars had to defend her. But I guess that's part of George's vision, right?
There's nothing anybody can do about this. There's nothing anybody can do to stop this hate. And so I question what my purpose is, and even being here in front of you saying that this is happening. I don't really know. But I think the thing that bothers me is that, like, sort of this feeling that I've had inside of myself, which no one has told me, but this feeling of like, I just gotta shut up and take it. You know, I just kind of gotta bear it. And I'm not built like that. So I really just wanted to come on, I think, and say thank you to the people who show up for me in the comments and the places that I'm not gonna put myself. And to the rest of y'all weird. Y'all weird.
Even in the subculture of cosplay, black women are hit with hate, being told that they can't dress up as certain fictional characters because their skin tone doesn't match the characters. Like, come on.
Specifically for black women, it's like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Like,
Right.
I don't believe that you're interested in this.
Right.
And it became a level of like trying to prove yourself as opposed to acceptance. Cosplay is like, it's an art form. You know, they are artists, and like artists can reimagine or do things any type of way, but also just because I don't necessarily look exactly like this character doesn't mean this character couldn't exist in a different form.
In anime, for example, Megan Thee Stallion, who throughout her rap career has often shown she was a fan of anime. In her interviews, song lyrics, and in her yearly Halloween costume IG post, she's shown her love for this space. Still, people will question her fandom or love for anime because she may not know the random obscure series that just came out, as if her expressing her fandom for anime gives her any more like social cachet when she can easily just keep that to herself and still become rich and famous without even mentioning it. Like, I don't I don't understand. Though recently, Megan and legendary anime producer Carl Jones announced she was getting her own anime series at the RDC World Convention, showing that no matter the hate, Black women are going to strive in these spaces where they are not welcomed. There are so many prominent Black comic book writers out or have been around, like Stephanie Williams, LL McKinley, Felicia D. Henderson, and N.K. Jemisin. N.K. Jemisin, who wrote one of the best Elseworlds Green Lantern stories I've read, with Far Sector. Far Sector was a 12-issue limited series through DC's Young imprint. This series was a sci-fi murder mystery following the newly appointed Green Lantern, Sojourner Mullen, as they tried to find a murderer on a planet who hadn't had a killing in over 500 years due to a bioengineered virus called the Emotion Exploit that tones down people's emotions. This series is masterfully written, full of twists and turns, alongside beautiful artwork from Jamal Campbell. Far Sector won the 2022 Hugo Award for Best Graphic Story or Comic. Far Sector also received several more award nominations: 3 Eisner Award nominations, a GLAAD Media Award for Outstanding Comic Series nomination, and an EGAN Award nomination. Outside of writers, we've got some great female Black artists like Ryan Oakley, Agent Simone, who I was able to get a short interview from at HeroesCon. Check out my Patreon for that. And manga artist Gigi Murakami. Bell Hooks said it best in her book Ain't I a Woman when she expressed, the Black woman's struggle has been different. We have had to struggle to see ourselves as subjects, not as victims, not as objects. I believe many of the Black women I talked about did just that by leaning into these spaces without fear. I know they got pushback, they got hate, overlooked, misrepresented, and so forth, yet they still strive. Just like many of the Black women who helped raise me, from my aunties, grandma, stepmom, and mother, all beautiful, strong Black women who I watched every day strive to be great, who helped mold me into the person I am today, who gave me the confidence, freedom, and mobility to be myself. They guided my brothers and I into better spaces. They protected us from the real world struggles we'll go through, but did not coddle us, so we would be prepared for anything. In the end, as you grow, your heroes tend to change. At one point, my hero was a farmer boy who wanted to fight the good fight against an evil fascist regime, who wanted to go past his homeland to not only save his, but everyone else's home. As an adult, my heroes are the everyday men and women who have so many external factors working against them, but still strive for greatness and to be good people.
If you had a daughter, 10 or 12 years of age, what would you say to her about growing up in this society?
Oh, well, first, if I had a daughter, my child, I hope, would be Black, because I have so much I can teach her and pull out of her. I would say, you might encounter many defeats, but you must never be defeated, ever. In fact, it might even be necessary to confront defeat. It might be necessary to get over it, all the way through it, and go on. I would teach her to laugh a lot. Laugh a lot at the silliest things. And be very, very serious. I teach her to love life, I bet you that.
I just wanted to hit on this topic more specific than like my Black superhero paradox topic I did a few months ago. I wanted to hone in on like these specific atrocities that are put towards like Black women, especially in these spaces of like nerdy geek culture, you know, things that are supposed to be open to everybody, but it seems that it's not, you know, especially in light of like the internet being more of a place where everybody just feels the need to express themselves. So once they put out their own like negative viewpoints on certain sides of people, I'm going to put in my own positive points or counter arguments to those people, you know, and I'm not one to be like, oh, I'm going to expose the grift of this guy or this guy. I'm just going to put out my information. I'm going to put out the most well-researched information and things like that. And even when I do these videos, I learned so much, like the Jackie Ormes story. I didn't really know about her before I did this video, so I'm glad that I learned it. And hopefully you guys, you know, learned about Jackie Ormes as well. Moving forward, I probably will move away from like these heavy-handed topics just for now, because again, at the end of the day, this is a comic book channel. I like to talk about comics and I love comics, but in showing my real love in this space, I really have to call out the hypocrisy in this space and like amongst fandoms, not just in comics, but in other things that affect people who, you know, I'm in community with, and, you know, things like that. So, and you know, obviously I can't hit on every topic or group, but I will encourage you, you know, if you are a part of a different group that feels like they're being under attack in these spaces, I would encourage you to, make your own videos and hit on other topics, or even, do your own independent research, because at the end of the day, what I say might not be the most up to date or the perfect iteration of those ideas or concepts, so I highly recommend you guys to go out and, do your own, get your own thoughts and stuff like that. And that's just from people on YouTube who just make videos like me, but from independent, researchers, well educated and thorough about the things they put out in the world. If you don't know, I'm a comic book creator. If you go to my website, avoxcomics.com, I have a bunch of comics up there you can buy. I have a couple comics you can read for free. Things like that. Sign up for my newsletter so you can get up to date for whenever time I put a new comic out. I also have a Patreon where I post frequently. You don't even have to pay. You can just be a free member, and I put up random updates or random things on my Patreon that you can check out. I also have things you can watch if you pay, like exclusive interviews with creators or full-length interviews that I may have clipped up in past videos. I also have a couple tutorial videos on there. Right now I have a line of videos on how to build a YouTube channel. So I would highly recommend go checking that out. I'm working on a new chain of videos on teaching people how I go about creating comics, stuff like that. And also I have a very special announcement. I am creating a second channel. It's going to be Kovo's Lookout Live. It's going to be more of a live streaming channel, unedited, more just me drawing. I'll have other creators on, do like drawing streams with them. I'm also going to do like news stuff, maybe react to other people's takes on certain things or newsworthy stuff in the comic book space, quote unquote. I also will be doing reviews. A lot of you guys hit me up to review your comics and stuff like that. So if you are an independent creator, be on the lookout. You can email me or even, check out my Patreon and message me on there or Instagram, wherever you can find me about your book. And I can review it if you want on that channel for free. I don't want you to pay to look at your book. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll, whatever, if you want to send it to me for free, that's cool. I'll review it for free, just whatever, I just want to give back. That's going to be like my, thing to give back to all the creators who are supporting this channel, support me and stuff like that. But yeah, so go check out and go subscribe to Kovo's Lookout Live. The link for that will be in the description as well. I appreciate everybody for watching this video to the end. I appreciate all the love I've been getting on this channel as of late. See you guys in the next video. Peace.